All right, mates, welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody is doing well. We're going to look at Bitcoin and whether Bitcoin is programmed to get back to 20,000 or not. So that is the key question here we're going to look at. Can Bitcoin get back above 18,200 and test 20,000 out of this framework? We're going to open up this graph. You're going to take a look at what we're looking at, okay? This is the situation in Bitcoin, okay? Bitcoin has set 4 higher highs, okay, and 4 lower lows over the last 3 to 4 weeks in Bitcoin, okay? If you connect these swing points using all of the trend lines, okay, this is an ascending channel, okay? And that's all that channel formation that you want to look at. This is what you will do on Mondays. Every Monday morning, you will look at the weekly forecast back and forward for any asset that you're going to trade during the week. This is your Monday morning setup, okay? Which always begins with a question. Can your asset, in this case Bitcoin, go higher this week, or is it going to go lower, right? And so you want to look at those channel swings. Now, we obviously had an interruption in the channel here because on the 15th, this was the Fed and the basis points. People buying the news, right? Buying the news and then boom, okay? Selling it back down, all right? It's where it got the volatility moved in here, and that's where you got where we are today. But the general consensus here is of where we have support ranges are in this 1600 range, okay? And you've seen it come off of this level. There, okay? We're approaching that level again now. And so you've got a lot of liquidity in that 16,500 level that right now is acting as support, this line right here, support for Bitcoin at this point, even over the weekend, okay? Your exponential moving averages, you can take a look at your chart, set them at 721 and 30-day. You could use a 20-day or 30-day when you're looking at a macro view. You can use the exponential moving average, that's an EMA as opposed to a DMA, to look at these ranges, okay? A bounce off of this level, okay, is going to result in a move higher, okay? A break of this level, okay, is where you're getting a lot of the FUD news about Bitcoin falling below $12,000, okay? But if support holds, Bitcoin is going to bounce between 13 and 16% higher, okay, off of that support. And like I said, if you look at your IO map that you're in and out of the money, you've got a very, very strong liquidity support bubble right at 16.5, 16.2 to 16.5 that could, again, as it's done before, support Bitcoin, okay? Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it typically does. These size bubbles will act as support, okay? You also have to take a look at your current RSI levels as well. Are they elevated? Are they not elevated? They are not elevated right now at the moment. So barring an event, there's really no reason for Bitcoin to sell down this week, barring some other news, remember, a lot of this was the Binance issue with reserves and the Fed 50 basis point hike and all that, pump up and then selling down, okay? Probably aren't going to get any bombshells the week of Christmas. So we're probably going to remain consolidated between this level on lower volume. That is really what you're looking at. You've got roughly 4.7 million addresses that have purchased over 2 million Bitcoin at an average price of 20,267, okay, out of the money. 50% of every Bitcoin right now purchased is out of the money, mates, okay? It's currently out of the money at the current level, all right? So think about that. You've got 40-some% in the money, 50% out of the money, and about 8 to 10% of the people right now are currently at the money line. So you've got 50% out, 40% in, and about 10% at current levels, meaning they bought roughly about what the price of Bitcoin is today. Now, that 20,200 is a significant resistance liquidity level for Bitcoin. Significant, okay? Far greater than 18,000. So, if we get to test off of this bounce, off of 16.5, if we test 1,800, okay, we're going to move quickly through 1,800 because there's not very much resistance, mates, between 17,750 and 18,200 with an average price of 18,000. There is just not that much resistance to keep Bitcoin from breaking through from a liquidity standpoint. The next major liquidity point is that $20,000 threshold, okay, where there is significant. And then after that, it's 23,000 to 27,000. Okay, those are your next two significant areas to look at. So a trade at 16.5 to 17,000, and then an exit at 19,200. Okay, which has some resistance to it. Okay, just not nearly as much as that 20,000 level. You're looking at a nice gain in your leverage trades just over the holiday weekend. And so that's holiday week. What I mean by that is, from today, Monday, until New Year's. Remember, people aren't at their desks in New York and Chicago and in London and in Hong Kong and places like that around this time. Most people are going to dip around Thursday, okay? And they will not be back, okay? They use limited staffing, limited trading between Christmas and New Year's. That's where you can get low volume wins on your leverage trades. And typically the volume, while light, is usually buying. And so that's what's going to be interesting to see about the holiday weekend, mates. Okay? So you're also looking at what's happening with the whales. Okay? Currently, are they buying or are they selling? All right? You want to look for spikes in any activity in terms of whale, either whale accumulation or whale selling. But you do need to watch that 16,500 level. That is going to tell us whether or not we are going back down to 15,000 or below, or we are going to test 19,200 and then on to 20,000. That is the biggest level, indicator level. That is the level that you should be marking on your charts today and looking at in terms of making any determination as to what Bitcoin is going to do, okay? Because you've got to understand that the in and out of the money has a small little hiccup, like a small little bump in the road at 18,000, okay? But it's relatively weak in terms of liquidity numbers compared to what you're going to have at that 19.2 to 20,000 level, okay? And so that actually becomes the next critical bullish level to break is 19.2, okay? To then challenge the $20,000 to $22,000 level, and you can find that easily on your in and out of the money block, okay? That's your on-chain metric that tracks all of the addresses on the blockchain that have purchased and sold Bitcoin, okay? And you can find that easily at into the block, okay? And I highly recommend that. I highly recommend you use that when you're looking at trading any of these major assets like Ethereum and Bitcoin and just the market to get an indication of what's happening with the market. Now, you do have other things to consider for this week of Christmas. Again, you've got low volume, but you also have a history of an institution doing something major during these periods, okay, over the history of Bitcoin since 2017. So you want to make sure that you are paying attention to what could happen on these exchanges, or what could happen with Grayscale, for example, and what they're going to do with that Bitcoin. So if we continue to go sideways, okay, continue to go sideways in this ascending channel, okay, we're likely going to stay in that range with 16.5 holding us support and 18,000 holding a resistance top. Okay, remember this top off right here, okay, during the 15th of December. We couldn't get this wick here, tells you right here, mates. That wick tells you that you do not have buying support at that level on that particular date. But you have to remember what had happened within that 24-hour period. Bitcoin rose substantially, okay, in that pump, all right? And it sold off at about 18,400 level. That's why you have that wick. But that wick tells you that you do not have the buying capacity to support that price, okay? So that becomes resistance now, just like this becomes support. So keep that in mind. You want to look at the amount of buying volume and interest as well. That is indicated on your book, on your chart that you can see each day, each hour, each segment in terms of what's the activity. Is there more buyers than sellers this holiday week? And you also will be able to see the size of the purchases made to keep an idea of whether or not someone is accumulating large blocks of Bitcoin during the holiday season. It can happen, okay? The only thing that's going to invalidate this potential move back to the upside is a break in 16,500 on a 4-hour candlestick. Okay, if a 4-hour stick closes below that level and holds below that level, Bitcoin, this channel is invalidated because it will have made a new low. Okay, remember, 4 higher lows, 4 higher highs would have all been invalidated. All right, and so you want to keep that in mind when you're looking at whether or not Bitcoin has that potential, okay, of going back down to 14,000 or below, really 15,000. That's your next liquidity level, okay? And so you want to keep that in mind in determining whether or not what's going to happen. Remember, keep an eye on these levels. RSI levels are still pretty cool currently, okay? Remember, anything above 70 RSI is overbought. Anything below 30 on your RSI tends to be oversold. Never buy on spot Bitcoin when Bitcoin is above 70 or below, okay? And always, that's when you want to look to sell if you're going to sell. Is you want to sell when it's above 70, okay? And you don't want to buy Bitcoin until it's below 30. If you can get Bitcoin below 20 on its RSI, that is a bargain level. Does not matter what price you're paying. In terms of behavior, that's a bargain level, okay? And so you definitely want to consider that if you're looking at accumulating Bitcoin here over the holiday season going into the new year, or you're looking at a sell-off, or you're looking at those things. Pick those liquidity areas where there are substantial addresses on the blockchain that you can commingle your Bitcoin with, in a sense that you've got security of other people that bought at the same level, okay? If you buy at these smaller levels of liquidity areas, they act as no support or resistance in the chart, okay? And they will easily be blown through up or blown through down, okay? And so you really, really want to be very, very cognizant of that fact, okay, mates? And so this is inevitably what you're looking at here, okay? In the next few days, Bitcoin has the potential of breaking out above 18,200, even on low volume during the holiday season, if it can remain in this ascending triangle formation, keeping that 16,500 level support, waiting to test that 18,200 level. And that is what will be significant. Okay, remember, it's not as maxed. It's not as big as of a hurdle at 18,000, 18,200 as people are making it out to be. There's far more liquidity above it in the 19,200 to 20,200 range. Okay, so don't be surprised if we get a candlestick that is a big stick just like we saw here, that will push it above, but this time keep it above 18,200. And then we slide into the new year working for 20,000, okay? Starting off the kickoff. But again, not your financial advisor. Everything is at risk in crypto. You know that. You have to pay attention. Again, low volumes can whip the other way. And we can see this market get taken out on low volume selling from the Far East or here in the States during the holiday season. So make sure that you are paying attention to your crypto assets and trades over the holidays so you don't get closed off or closed out of what's happening in the market. It is extremely important to understand that these are programmable moves in this market from institutions now. Okay? They will happen automatically. Okay? Especially during a holiday season because they've programmed their buying and selling because they will have limited staffing at their desks during the holidays and they will want to take advantage of technical moves that happen from whatever part of the world that drive the price up or drive the price down. So keep that in mind. Yes, the 19,200 mark is, in my opinion, programmed in to this channel. However, we will not get to that level if we get an invalidated channel move below 16,500. All right, mates. Hope everybody has a great day.